The Arizona Constitution is both similar to and different from the United States Constitution in many ways. The Arizona Constitution allows for an initiative and referendum process, whereas the U.S. Constitution does not. Arizona created a constitution that emulates the U.S. government's model, but the framers included progressive facets such as a direct primary, the initiative, the referendum process, and more. McClory, 2010. First, we will discuss some definitions. Initiatives allow citizens to create laws in the state of Arizona. McClory, 2010, page 50. Citizens can draft laws that they feel are needed or are important. Initiatives also give the people the chance to reject measures that have been written by other citizens through the voting process. McClory, 2010, page 104. Initiatives reflect direct citizen action and are a true process of the people, while the state legislature enacts the referendum process. Referendums allow citizens to approve or reject laws passed by the state legislature. McClory, 2010, page 50. Arizona voters can veto a law or part of a law through a vote during a general election cycle. From the Arizona Department of State, 2022. There is a process for creating an initiative or a referendum. To have an initiative added to the ballot, it must first receive enough votes from voter signatures to be added to the next general election vote. Arizona Department of State, 2022. Initiatives are created by voters writing a proposal, filling out an application through the Secretary of State's office, acquiring a serial number, collecting signatures, and following all protocols and procedures. An organization wishing to enact an initiative to the state constitution must collect a minimum of 15% of all of the previous votes that were cast for governor from the last election cycle. Arizona Department of State, 2022. Valid voter signatures must be collected and filed at least 4 months before the next general election. Once enough signatures are received, the item may be placed on the ballot. To pass a referendum, it must also be placed on a general election ballot. In order to do so, a petition must first be submitted with valid voter signatures showing support for the referendum. 5% of all votes cast in the last governor election cycle must be provided at a minimum. Similar to the initiative process, an application for a serial number must be filed with the Secretary of State before collecting signatures. Arizona Department of State, 2022. The deadline for completing these steps and filing referendum signatures must occur within 90 days of the legislature's adjournment. If enough valid signatures have been collected, the referendum will appear on the next general election ballot for the vote. The initiative and referendum process is a very important one for the state of Arizona. While both give a level of input and control in the state law process, they are different in key ways. Initiatives give the people the power to propose new laws or create constitutional amendments to adjust current laws. This is an important opportunity for the citizens of Arizona to make their voices heard, as legislation does not simply just come from the state legislature. Issues that are important to the people have the opportunity to be added to the general election ballots when enough support is garnered. Referendums offer citizens the power to approve or reject legislation that has already been passed by the state legislature. This is a key power for the people of Arizona, as they can decide if they agree or disagree with a passed law. Arizonans have the power to suggest, approve, and deny laws. The pros of initiatives are that Arizonans can enact laws based on their beliefs, giving immense power to the people, and collecting solidarity for groups working towards initiatives. A potential downside of initiatives is that organizations may attempt to pass or amend legislation that individual citizens disagree with. Groups may be in opposition to each other, and they may try to opposing legislation, creating issues. The pros of referendums include allowing citizens to approve or veto legislation that has already passed, giving control to citizens. Once enough support has been garnered, a referendum can be added to the general election ballot. A potential downside to the referendum process is that, depending on the organization behind the referendum, issues may become polarizing or receive biased reporting to sway voters. The referendum process opens up opportunities for dissent, and groups may be working in opposition with each other, leading to polarizing debates. Another potential con to the referendum process is that critics claim it can undermine representative democracy and that representatives are to act on behalf of their constituents. The Arizona Constitution offers multiple ways for its citizens to utilize tenets of the direct democracy. Initiatives and referendums allow Arizona's citizens to access a degree of control over legislation using the initiative and referendum process. A direct democracy is one in which citizens retain the power to decide policies and laws instead of a traditional U.S. model, like the representative democracy model. Arizona allows its citizens to take direct legislative action when proposing initiatives and referendums. Throughout the process, organizations seeking to change, amend, approve, or deny legislation can obtain support from their voting peers to obtain enough signatures to enact a change in their state government. The tenets of the Arizona Constitution allow for direct democracy through the initiative and referendum process, in which voters exercise power over state legislation in their lives. Thank you.